Welcome back to this week's episode of GoTigers247's Film Room. I'm your host, Christian Fowler, and joining me, as always, is former Memphis offensive lineman, Gabe Kuhn. Gabe, Memphis fans have something to be excited about this week.
Absolutely. I didn't expect what happened.
I was about to
I
ask,
really can't, I didn't fathom, them winning by 30.
No.
I said by 3 or 4. I thought it'd be a close game. I thought Tulane would run some clock, but no. Tigers came out. They were mad. They were absolutely ticked off. Defense stepped up. Justin McMillan was held to, basically nothing compared to what he's done for the rest of the season.
Yeah, didn't have the game that I expected him to have, and I said it on the episode last week. He was the key to this game. Memphis had to slow Justin McMillan down. He's a dynamic runner, and when he broke off the 41-yarder on the first drive, I was like, okay, they're going to have trouble stopping him.
And I'll ask this, Brady White. Best game as a Tiger?
Best game as a Tiger.
And I think Coach Norvell seconded that as well. This was one of his best games as a Tiger, and then I thought it was really, really good. He proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, this was his middle finger.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
He came out. He's been bashed the past few weeks and kind of throughout the course of the season, and he came out in their biggest game of the year up to this point. They desperately needed a win. He goes, 21-29 for 358 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and newsflash, Kenny Gainwell's good at football.
He's okay.
He's pretty good at football.
He's not bad. So we also do Tigers in 20, as everybody knows. And on the episode that came out on Tuesday, I said that I don't know if people expected this, obviously, but Kenny Gainwell has made people forget about Tony Pollard, Darrell Henderson, and Patrick Taylor. Those are 3 very good players, and nobody talks about them right now because Kenny Gainwell is that good.
And personally, I think he's better. I really do. He can do everything. There's not a thing on the football field that you ask him to do that he can't.
No.
So, he is insane.
And they came out with a completely different dynamic this week. They kept it in the bag. They didn't show it until this week, but lining him up outside, putting him in the slot.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but, man, it makes this offense that much more dynamic.
Absolutely. Just to preface this is going to be interceptions, big plays, and a lot of touchdowns. Let's get to it. Okay, so, I did that whole preface part, but the first play we have here is going to be a negative play.
Yep, this is the
only one. It was the first drive. Justin McMillan, you knew he was going to come out with a little bit. You knew Tulane was going to have a game plan, and this is what they've been doing all year, and it works. They make the correct read here. JoJo Dorcius dives, tries to take the running back. He comes out, and there's a 2-for-1. You'll see here you have TJ Carter and Austin Hall. But
TJ Carter's got to make that play.
Yeah, but Justin McMillan's good at making people miss.
Yeah, he is
that's what he's been doing all year, and you'll see this is no different. And now you have a body up on Austin Hall, and this is just out the gate. He just weaves in and out until he gets down here to about, the 10?
They got the lineman downfield blocking Sanchez.
Yeah, they're athletic. They like to get on the edge, and that's what they tried to do. But after this, they weren't able to do much of it.
No, I think he had one more nice run on the game, and it was actually the touchdown that got called back. He ended up scoring a touchdown running anyway. But like I mentioned at the top, this is what worried me, and they did a great job after this play. So
yeah, they never were able to break a big one off like that after.
Right.
And obviously on that drive, you can say what you want. They gave up points, but it was only 3.
It's only 3.
That's something we've been seeing time in and time out this year.
That bend but don't break in the beginning, and then they really start playing defense.
Yeah, and in the past it's been break and break some more. So you love to see it. Right here, 4th and 4.
They came out aggressive on this first drive.
Yeah, 2 4th-down conversions.
2 4th-down conversions.
If I'm Tulane here, what do they like to do on decently short yardage? They're going to throw a slant.
Yeah, you can guarantee it. Even if it's not open, DeMonte's going to be running a slant because of his, because of how big he is. He can box out, and that's exactly what he does.
And then right here, easy throw, easy catch, first down. But I like the aggressiveness. That's the thing you have to notice about this. Is to come out on the first drive, you're on your own or on their 44. That gives them good field position if you don't get it.
Absolutely. Because if you don't get that, they've already got momentum from a nice first drive. They're in good field position.
And they feel like they're rolling a little
Absolutely.
bit. And I think these type of things throughout the game are momentum changers.
Absolutely.
Just realistically. Here's another 4th.
Yeah, speaking of momentum changers.
And this is a killer too, because you think you have a stop. It's 4th and 4 again, and they get a touchdown. Not just the first down, but a touchdown.
Right, and you can see the box is loaded right now, which so smart to sneak Kenny Gainwell out of the backfield because they are all in the box.
They're confused.
Yeah.
These two guys on the outside here will be rushing both outside of the right tackle, Scotty Dill. I think there was a huge miscommunication. The linebacker in the middle of the field doesn't even bother to go cover. He gets caught up in the wash.
Kind of got rubbed right there.
Yeah, and then when you get him on a safety, he's going to beat him over top. That's just what he does.
Just ran
easy,
right past
easy
him.
money. But, like, if you're Tulane in that situation, you got to be a little more apt. That's not a good fourth down play
not
call.
At all. You got, I mean, we know people are going to key in on Kenny Gainwell now, and to not have anybody on him, and obviously I know he was supposed to be man coverage, there's supposed to be a guy there, but there's nobody.
There's no excuse for not covering their best player.
Not
like
at all.
There's no excuse for that, but I guess Memphis' offense is just going to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Like, appreciate it.
Did this one fire you up?
This was sick, man. Like, what? And he's got stickies, man. Like, this is the best feeling. I don't know if anybody else knows about football gloves, but they have that little coating that's pretty sticky.
They definitely got a little sticky
when you
coating
feel
on
that
it.
ball just stick there, and you don't have to, like,
You never
wing
got
it
that
around.
feeling, though, huh?
Oh, no, I have.
In practice.
I have, man. I had a one-handed interception when I was in high school.
I'm impressed.
For a TD. For a
Nonetheless. Touchdown.
Yeah.
Linebacker?
Did I have more TDs than you in high
No.
school?
How many? Is that the only touchdown you had? No,
I had
you
one.
definitely didn't have more than me. No.
This guy. But anyway, here we go. Just an easy little rollout. I don't get this, though. Why do you roll him out to his opposite?
To his right, and then
Yeah.
he kind of has to throw it off his back foot.
I don't really get
pressured.
that. But you see Everett Cunningham lays off a little bit here. The Tigers were in somewhat of a zone here.
Right.
And Austin's supposed to have this guy right here in the flat on the 40, but he realizes, okay.
He looks at, if you look at Justin McMillan's eyes, you know where he's going.
Yeah,
right there.
but here it's like if he throws it here, Austin's going to come up and make that tackle for what?
2
Relatively
yards,
no gain to 2 yards. Instead, he plays off a little bit and makes a play on the ball that is just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's incredible.
And the past 3 or 4 weeks, Austin Hall has been absolutely incredible too. And we've talked about it a few times, especially last week with the Temple game with the tackle. So Austin Hall's really come to play his last year, and he's showing out.
Look at that.
That's an angle right there. That's a good angle.
And you
right
always
there.
wonder with guys that are left over in new schemes with a new DC, how they're going to react to the new defensive coordinator's schemes. He has done better.
Yeah, I think
he was already good within a Chris Ball system.
I think him, the last few years having to play a little bit of safety, a little bit of linebacker hurt him a little bit more. Now that he's just getting to focus on being an inside linebacker, he's really taking off.
Yep.
And this is, when you become the first player since 1997 to have 200-plus receiving yards and 100-plus rushing yards, you're probably going to have a lot of highlights on the GoTigers247's film room.
They line him up right here in the slot, right here on the M. And I don't know how many running backs can straight up run a corner route here in man-to-man coverage with a safety coming over top and catch it and take the hit. That's
a receiver.
That's
what receivers
That's better
do.
than receivers. And by the way, he's the leading receiver for Memphis right now.
It's
unbelievable. This kid, we'll get to more later.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty. There's plenty.
I mean, he did catch for 204 yards?
200.
And this is a guy who, you talk about speed, he is track fast.
Yeah.
Calvin Austin is incredibly fast, and I want to see him get more touches, and I think he will coming up.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a little bit more involved going into the season. He had a big catch a couple weeks ago on the road, and then this game he obviously got a lot more involved.
So what they do here, I guess this is sort of a linebacker. They bring him late, and they have this safety matched up with a slot receiver that runs like a 4-3. That's a mismatch, and a really, really good anticipation on this throw, and just a good catch.
Put it on the back shoulder.
Getting your foot down, too.
Yeah,
that's good work.
All
that's
around.
just straight up good work.
Yeah, well, especially if you got, like you said, if you got him on a safety, that's just.
And what's interesting is they haven't brought him out yet. This is his sort of coming out party, and you didn't expect it.
Right.
You didn't really. Maybe if you go to practice, you see him get more involved, but this is a guy that they have not used in the past game to date, and he was the leading receiver besides Kenny Gainwell.
Yep. Once again, Austin Hall and
blitz.
So this isn't a huge play, huge impact play. It's a first down and a couple yard loss, but this is a new wrinkle they kind of added in this week, bringing Austin in from depth a little bit, and it worked a couple times. It got home a couple times, and this was obviously a product of that.
And this is the thing: when you're this O line, you have 5 across here, and you're accounting for the linebacker inside, that's J.J. Russell, I believe, you're not accounting for Austin Hall. And this tackle you'll see will block out, and this left guard and the center think they're going O'Brien Goodson up to J.J. Russell, but when you add an extra guy, he comes scot-free, and that's just the easiest TFL you could possibly imagine if you're Austin Hall.
Right, and now they've got that on film, so teams are gonna have to watch out for that, and teams are gonna have to prepare for that.
Absolutely, and that's something that's really hard to prepare for. Absolutely. Like extra bodies, when you only have 5 to block, they might have to add, bring somebody else in to block, like a tight end.
Right.
It'll be tough for teams to scheme against that.
And Gabe, we're talking about weapons.
Big money.
We're talking about weapons. And here's another one that
look at this guy.
We have been talking about him for 4 weeks now, saying that he should get more involved. Still not as involved as he should be, but he makes at least 1 or 2 plays every single game.
He's a big physical guy. This ball's a little behind him. He goes and makes a play. I think the safety was about to latch on. It was like a sort of a zone somewhat. I don't think they were trying to go full man here, but the safety tried to make a play on the ball. And
he had a rough day.
Yeah, he got absolutely picked on.
This safety had a rough day.
Yeah, and this is just easy run after catch right here.
Yeah, and that's, 3rd and 16. There were so many big third down conversions for Memphis in this game, which is something that we've seen be a common theme over the past few weeks. Brady White using his arm and throwing the ball 3rd and long.
And you'll see here, you'll notice sort of the zone, because this guy's following and this guy's taking sort of over here in this flat. And they're just sort of confused. And when you have all those bodies in the same place, it's going to be hard. Yeah. Especially when you have size like that. Your size matchup on the outside, especially against this Tulane secondary, was huge.
Absolutely. Gabe, is this Brady's best throw of the game right here?
Let's see. Yes. Absolutely. That's a really good throw. Really good job by Joey to go up and get it. That's full extension, high pointing the ball, and getting his feet in bounds.
That's just saying, I know my guys. Man,
it's 36. Poor guy, bro. Poor guy.
This safety had a tough day. I would love to see the Pro Football Focus grade on this safety.
And also, the thing is, when you give Mike Norvell zone defenses, he will pick you apart. He knows the soft spots of all these. Obviously, this isn't really a soft spot. The guy was on him, but my player's better than yours sometimes, and that's just how it works. But yes, easily best throw of the game.
Best throw of the game. I'm gonna let you take this one. I know you were a little
okay.
Hyped up over
This is hilarious because I told these guys it reminds me of that game where you have 3 cups and you have like a coin under and you have to pick the right cup. So you'll see here they start in this formation. They're probably thinking run. You're gonna bring Joey around this edge and try to go to the short side of the field. Nope, they switch it up. They bring him to the other side. They're like, okay, well. No, we're going to bring it to the long side of the field and see what happens. And then what they do, they switch sides, and now they're thinking, okay, what the hell is coming? What's going on? I have no idea. They haven't made any defensive adjustments. Yep. They're outclassed here. They're out scheme-wise. Mike Norvell has them on their heels. They don't know what's coming. So what you do is you fake a speed option basically out here, and you throw it right under. Power scheme.
Design's perfect because the inside linebacker.
That's a walk-in.
Inside linebacker took Kylan Watkins. Outside defensive end, outside linebacker took Brady, and nobody is there on Joey.
And this is just a very simple power scheme here. You have Manny Arona Lopez skipping around for this linebacker, and it literally Joey comes right off his block into the end zone. It's just perfectly designed, and you confuse the hell out of Tulane. Tulane's like, where's this ball going?
Yep.
Who's getting the ball?
And Joey finally gets his first touchdown of the year. Finally. 7 games
I think he's 2 yards away from breaking the tight end receiving yards
He's close,
record.
And I think it's Alan Cross's record, somebody you played with. So he's close.
Yeah, he needed 33. He had 31 yards.
Close.
So he's 2.
He's getting there.
He should get it.
He should get it.
He should. Right here. Brady just continued a good night.
And if this would have been overturned, Memphis fans
probably
would have stormed the field.
Like, dude, this is clearly. You bring a corner, okay? Good read right here. They're running a zone again, by the way.
Hot throws we've been talking about for weeks now.
Yeah, and he throws a hot throw out, and he gets mauled.
Oh, it's easily.
Like, literally mauled on the sideline. This is a awful miscall. How he caught this, I don't know. But look at this. Like, a little early?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Just a second. But I don't even know, man. I don't even know how he makes that catch. He sticks the right hand out there. and then brings the left end to secure it, doesn't let it hit the ground, controls it through. I mean, that's just a great catch.
How? Like, how? They're not going to overturn that one.
No. I'm telling you.
They should have gone back. If this was the NFL, I think they would even overturn that.
The pass interference.
Yeah, that was too obvious not to call, and they still didn't call it.
Yeah, very obvious there. But
American conference officials, they need to get on their game, man. They have not.
They've been a little off the past few weeks.
few years, man. They have been struggling. Here again, Calvin Austin.
Speed to burn.
Yep, that's what he does.
When you have track speed, use it. And they finally start using it, and you see that corner had no shot. He got roasted from the top.
So, and this is also another thing. When you go 5 wide, like, they don't have a bunch of safety help. They can only have, theoretically, one guy over top if you're going to go 5 wide like this and empty.
And they don't have the athletes to cover DeMonte, Antonio Gibson, Kenny Gainwell, Calvin Austin, and I believe that's Kadarian Jones at the top of the
screen. I don't think the safety right here on the slot and Calvin Austin realizes that he's a track athlete.
No.
Because he jumps up on him and he runs by him.
Roasted.
Like, look at that.
If you're 5 yards down the field throwing your arm up, you roasted somebody.
3 steps past him and he's only what? I don't know. 10 yards downfield?
10 yards from the line of scrimmage, yeah.
Come on, man. That's ridiculous speed.
Brady White's got to love to see that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing. I think this team can do a lot out of this package we just saw. An empty, with no running backs, and 5 wide. Right. I think they're going to do a lot more of that because of what they did against Tulane.
Yeah, and it's not something they show often because they love having their running backs in the backfield. But when you have Kenny Gainwell, who can do both, put him in the slot, spread him out. And like I just said, I don't think there's any team in the American that can cover DeMonte, AG, Kenny, Calvin Austin, and Kadarian Jones. Or if you wanted to throw Joey out there instead of Kadarian Jones.
And I think the biggest problem is Kenny. Like,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Who are you going to double team?
You can't.
That's the question. It's like, who do you show preferential treatment to at this point if you're an opposing defense?
Yeah, so good call. I think we'll see that more and more.
Yeah, like it's going to be a big part of game plans going forward.
Man, some of these Memphis guys are having big years. Thomas Pickens. This
right here. Is this A. Collins coming off the edge here? Yep. They bring sort of a blitz here. They bring Carlito Gonzalez to come latch on to this slot receiver, and he just sort of
not a good throw.
But this is something like if you force him, if he's down by 17, you got to know Justin McMillan's not the guy to lead you back. He's not a big thrower.
Yeah, this is just a product of game flow and being up by 17 points right before halftime, and your quarterback's trying to make a play, and he just couldn't get it there.
And also, you'll notice here, this was going to be this is sort of a zone situation where Thomas thought he was going to pass this slot guy off to
Chris
Claybrooks here at the top of the screen. And he just ends up running a simple out route, and that's just not a good enough throw.
Justin McMillan was throwing it to Thomas Pickens. He put it on him.
Yeah, he led him perfectly, man. But yeah, good play by Thomas Pickens, who's really come along this year.
Yeah, defense has been making play, and it's guys that we didn't expect to step up and be playmakers. You know, Thomas Pickens, A. Collins, guys all over the field.
Guys that have been there.
Yeah, guys that have been there, guys that have been around the program are really starting to step up, and I think that's big for the team. Obviously, when you're that deep and you have guys that you didn't expect to be making plays on a weekly basis is definitely a good thing.
Definitely, and this is you do not see this very often.
Running backs should not be able to do this.
They have, I guess this would be 21 personnel basically, okay? And you take your running back, and you'll see Tom Brady in the NFL always does this. He'll motion his guy James White out of the backfield.
Right.
And you put him out here on the edge with a linebacker basically.
Well, now you know he's got man.
And you don't see running backs getting thrown back shoulder balls.
And that's a pass interference as well.
Well, I mean, like a back shoulder, and watch this, it doesn't even matter.
Nope.
But a back shoulder ball to your main, work back is something that I bet you a lot of people wish they had.
Yeah, we can't even call him a running back anymore.
What do you call him? You got to call him a running back.
Just a play. This is just a playmaker, man. Like, running backs should not be able to go out wide.
And I we've been staying away from the comparison, but like what Christian McCaffrey does.
He just took my comparison.
What Christian McCaffrey does.
Okay. I said I wasn't going to.
I'm just saying, man. Okay. The kid does it all.
Just so everyone knows, Gabe Kuhn is slimy as hell. Because I've been saying this comparison for 3 weeks now, and I haven't wanted to put it out there.
And he wants to act like he's the only one who came up. Like, we've talked about this. Like, but you're not that original, dude.
No, it's pretty original. But no, anyway, you're absolutely right. Like we didn't want to say it a few weeks ago because it sounds asinine.
It sounds ridiculous.
It's Christian McCaffrey is one of the best running backs in the NFL, but Kenny Gainwell is doing the types of things that Christian McCaffrey does. I mean, right now he is easily one of the best running backs in the country, bar none. Not conference, it doesn't matter. Like Jonathan Taylor's great, but he can't do everything that Kenny Gainwell does.
And people talk about backs and they talk about catching the ball out of the backfield. He doesn't just do that.
No.
He runs the ball between the tackles. He can run it outside. He can get it out of the backfield easily. And you split him out and throw a back shoulder ball that you would throw to DeMonte Coxey. Like that's what a play looks like to Coxey. That's unique. A wide receiver play.
Right.
You should not see running backs being able to do that.
It's very unique.
And they did it. And what they do it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times. We'll see it. We'll see it again later on.
Yeah.
But it's unique, and guess what? He's only a redshirt freshman.
That's crazy.
So this
and people keep trying these misdirections, and they don't work.
Who started this? Who was the first team?
Navy did it.
Navy did. No. South Alabama, I believe, was the first team to do it. Remember, they started out the game with the misdirection and went big on it.
Okay.
And
that was one of them, but I remember Navy's because it was the first play.
That is it. No, I'm wrong. I'm gonna take the L on that one. You're right. It was Navy.
You're taking L's all over.
I'm taking L's. Yeah,
this is they stay at home. They're not falling for this. We've seen this week after week now since the Navy game. Right. They're not gonna let you do this to them.
Yeah, it's what people are seeing on film. They're seeing teams have success on the outside, and I don't think Memphis is going to allow it anymore.
Like, and the thing is, you see JoJo Dorsey is just staying at home.
He's not
chasing down what he thinks this is going to be.
Right.
Like, he stays at home.
Austin stays at home. TJ does a good job disengaging, and they make the play.
Yeah, you can't. They have not showed that they're going to fall for that.
And that's what this defense. When the defense is on, that's what they can do.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
What do you know it?
Guess what? Kenny Gainwell again.
I think it's sort of the same idea here.
This one is an angle route.
Yeah, this is an angle route, and him on a linebacker, it's dead.
Not fair.
You're dead.
And then puts a stiff arm on him. That's the thing. Like,
look how strong he is. That's what you don't expect out of a guy like this.
Just get off of him.
And then cross up. And look how fast he is. This is not even fair.
Like, your feet should not be able to grab the turf that quickly.
Like, Tulane is having nightmares about this guy every night. And he,
there's nothing they can do.
It's Halloween time too.
The angle route.
If you want to scare a Tulane defender, just like dress up like any game.
Can you run that back again? You run that back one more time. I want to have some serious analysis.
Let's do this. Let's go.
Watch how quick his feet grab the turf here. It just does. You should not be able to just shuffle twice like that.
And his vision too. Look at his eyes. Like they're always downfield. He got caught from the back.
You talk about somebody having nightmares. That white safety might be benched this week.
I don't think he'll be benched because, like, what is he gonna do, man?
He had a bad day.
Yeah, like, but when you look at the Tigers, they just have so much skill talent. Like, you can't expect him to keep up with all of it.
Absolutely. And here is another one.
Oh wow, I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed.
Same thing. Split him out. Split him out. It's a corner this time. It's not the linebacker this time. It's a corner. They're thinking we can stop him with the corner, but guess what?
It's a one-on-one. They're they're manning up basically, and they have one guy high, number 37 up here,
who's going to the two wide side.
You throw another back shoulder ball, and like it's a walk-in touchdown. Like, this is incredible. You don't see college backs do this. Because I can't stress that enough. This is not what you see college backs do.
Right, and you can tell from this corner because if you look at the top of the play, he is expecting something short. He's expecting a slant, a quick screen, something like that, and they pull out a back shoulder again. And like I said, we said the first time it was a linebacker, inside linebacker. This time they try a corner. No.
You put a corner on him, and he still turns up and gets a touchdown that quick.
Just nothing you can do about it. He was a little fired up after that one. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him at all. I mean, what he did in this game
murdered a whole defense.
By the way, like, he had this. What he did in this game, getting 200 receiving yards and 100 rushing yards, hasn't been done since '97.
I was not born.
Yeah, well, I was born. I was like 2 years old, but like
I was not born. So obviously a lot of good things from this week. This is a huge win. I don't think we can overstate, even though we've had a lot of fun this episode.
Yes.
I don't think we can overstate how big of a win this was. You're coming off a heartbreaker, and we talked about this. We talked about coming off a heartbreaker, but being able to come back home. And you said how exciting it is when you do get that feeling, when you do get to come back home, especially after a loss like that.
Yeah, and they were angry.
Oh, they were pissed.
They were so mad, and you could tell it in how they played. They came out, and they didn't give Tulane a chance. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, when they played Temple, there was sort of that they left some doubt in there. And that's what happens when you leave doubt. This week, they came out with the mentality, we're going to leave absolutely no doubt, and we're going to kick their brains in, basically.
Yeah, and it's exactly what they did. And obviously, we talked a lot about Kenny Gainwell. I really don't think enough can be said. I think we could sit here for 45 minutes and talk about Kenny Gainwell.
I'm not kidding. This kid is a generational talent, especially at a school like Memphis. He is absolutely, positively insane, and I don't think there is another player like him in the country. I mean, just truthfully, as honest, as straight up as I can be, not trying to overstate it, but also not trying to understate it. This kid does things that no one else in the country can do.
Yeah, because you look at the top running backs in the NCAA right now. Jonathan Taylor is obviously one that gets
Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, all these guys, but they cannot do what Kenny Gainwell does. I'm not necessarily saying Kenny Gainwell is a better pro prospect or this or that, but he's a redshirt
those
freshman.
Other guys, they run between the tackles really well. They're good running backs. But they don't
not lining
split
up
out wide and get thrown back shoulder. But that's not something that you ever see out of college running backs. And what he's doing is unlike anything I've ever seen out of any player that I've been around.
Right.
It's absolutely insane.
And I think the biggest takeaway from this game, obviously huge win. They needed it. And it's a great momentum builder when you get a win like this, because you didn't just go beat somebody. You didn't just beat because Tulane's a really good football team. Tulane is a great offensive football team, 130 yards in the second half and 7 points in garbage time. It was impressive. Both sides of the ball, it was impressive. And now you really just got to keep it rolling. So, Gabe, now that we have rehashed the brain beating that was last Saturday night's game, time to move on, as Memphis' football team already has. Time to move on to Tulsa. Not the most difficult game in the world. Tulsa's not.
Could be a trap game, though.
Yeah, not a great team, but you're coming off a high emotional game. You're going on the road. What does Memphis have to do to win this football game?
Memphis is going to have to make sure that they stop the run against Tulsa. Tulsa cannot throw the ball very well. I don't know if you knew that, but offensively, they're not very good. I think defensively, they're going to get some stops on Memphis. And I think if Memphis goes to sort of that innovative, go to some 5 wide, do some different things like they tried to do last week, I think they'll be great on offense. But more than anything, it's going to come down to defensively, can you stop Tulsa's run game? Because that's all they can do.
And you're on the road. Like I said, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot turn the football over.
No. And you got to understand, Tulsa could be somewhat of a trap game. You're coming off the high. And not to mention, this is a team that should have beat SMU. They were up 30-9 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
They played close with Cincinnati. And this is a team that's capable of winning games. They just haven't got over the hump. But I think, the Tigers, it might be a slow first half, but when you look at it, I think they will be able to win this game somewhat handily. But they're going to have to not turn the ball over and still be clicking on all cylinders.
And I think the best thing at this point is the mindset. You saw a mindset shift on Saturday night.
Keep it. Don't lose it.
The whole Memphis versus everybody thing, I think it really hit home with this team. And I think that's a mantra. It's been with this team. But they came off of that call and they were pissed. And if you have to keep that, mindset throughout the rest of the year, that we have our backs against the wall, we control our own destiny. We cannot lose any more football games if we want to win the AAC West.
And that's the biggest thing. Don't overlook any opponent. You got to keep that same mindset. If they play like they did against Tulane, if Brady White comes out clicking on all cylinders, not turning the ball over, they will absolutely roll over Tulsa. Yeah. It won't even be a contest. But if they leave it up to doubt, turn the ball over a few times, it could get ugly. But in the end of the day, I really think if this defense comes out, stops Tulsa's run game, I think the offense will take care of itself.
Yeah, and I think we see the same thing that we've seen for the past couple weeks. If you look back, Tulane game, Temple game, Memphis came out throwing the football. because teams want Brady White to beat them. They are going to sell out to the run. So you have to start football games like that now. You have to say, your first 10 scripted, the majority are going to be throws because you're going to have to prove that you can throw the football.
And it's becoming easier and easier to throw the football when you have Kenny Gainwell getting involved, Calvin Austin getting involved, Antonio Gibson getting involved, Joey Magnifico getting it. Like, the list goes on, and I think Brady realizes that. He just has to get the ball to the playmakers, and that's what he did against Tulane, and I don't think it's going to be going into Tulsa.
Yep, absolutely. It's playmakers galore on that Memphis offense, so they just have to keep it rolling. And with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. Gabe, this was a hell of a fun episode.
Had a good time.
It's not nearly as depressing as last week's episode.
And I was the one who came up with Christian McCaffrey.
That's a lie. Don't listen to him. But anyway, guys, make sure to head over to GoTigers247.com. Check out everything we got over there. You can catch up on all the film rooms. We got plenty of them. We've gotten a little better at this. Yeah. We're hitting a stride
slowly
now.
But surely.
People might start watching this and saying, "Hey, those guys got a little something."
Yeah.
But
anyway,
juice. A little juice. But anyway, as always, make sure to check out Gabe Kuhn's podcast, the TKT podcast. He does it with his brother Alex Kuhn. They do a great job. They basically recap everything football.
Yeah. We have local teams. We have Iowa. We have Mizzou, where we're from. We're actually from St. Louis, and we do a lot of Memphis. We talk to Kenny Gainwell at length. There's a lot in there for Tiger fans to go check out. So TKT Podcast, it's on Apple Podcasts as well as Podomatic. Make sure you go check it out.
Yep, make sure to check that out, and we will be back next week with hopefully another fun game.
Another nice win.
And hopefully we get some energy like this again next week. So you guys make sure to check back in.